Hi, welcome to Sharon My Art, where our next step, you've transferred your picture to your paper. We're going to paint it. I'm going to show you how to lift color, how to blend colors, and how to move your paint around so it looks like one color drips into the other. All right, here we go. Okay, now we've learned the techniques. We've got our image on the paper, and I taped it down while you weren't looking. And this is called Artist Low Tack tape. It's white. It comes off. It won't raise your paper. You can get it in a roll like this. Artist tape, mostly at art supply places. Michael's has it. I don't know. I don't think Joann's does, but artist supply places definitely have it. I like to tape this down because it will buckle, but after I paint it, I iron it. I iron it with no steam because it's cotton. It's just like material, and then it irons out flat. So if I get some rumples in it, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay? All right, so first thing I'm going to do is tell you that I always have a clean water tank and a dirty one. This will be the one I dip my brushes in. This is the one that I'm just going to keep for clean water. And this petal right here is the lightest. So I'm going to wet my paper, and wherever I put water, that's where the paint will go. If I don't put water out here, no matter what I do, that paint won't go out there. It's kind of a surface tension thing, and it will just stay right where you put it. The paint will just stay right on, right in the water. So I'm going to dampen this petal. And one thing in watercolor, you go from light to dark. The white of your design, you leave white. You don't use white paint. So you're going from light to dark, because you can cover up the light, but because we don't use white, you can't really cover up the dark. Alrighty. Okay, so that's all wet. You can see it's starting to buckle a little bit. Now I'm going to take this yellow, lemon yellow, and I took a little bit of this cadmium yellow, mixed it together. I'm going to test it over here on my test board. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I'll use that. Making more of a puddle than I need, because I may want to use this on another petal. Oh yeah, that's going to be perfect. Now in watercolor, I don't want to go back over here, because then I don't want to get blossoms. So just put your lightest color on. And in watercolor, this is going to dry 30% lighter than it is on the paper. So we have to remember that. It's not going to be this dark, even though this isn't very dark. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now we've got some real light over here and some darker. Okay, one thing I don't want to do is this leaf right here, because it's touching. And this has already started to dry, so if I put wet on here, it's going to just suck right over there and make a big blossom. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to do this leaf right here. And I'm going to do it in the same, kind of the same color, maybe put a little bit of more of a dark, or maybe some orange in there. So this whole leaf right here, that's what I'm going to do. I mean the petal. So I'm going to wet it first. And remember, the paint is only going to go where I put the water. We're not dry brushing. We're using a wet on wet technique. And that's what this is called, wetting your paper and then putting wet paint on top. So it only is going to go where I put the water. Okay. And I'm going to change up my color just a little bit. Add a little bit of this and add a little bit of orange. Okay, so that's kind of a pretty little color. And we're going to go here. Now I'm not going to get blossoms because I'm starting on this end and just going down to this other one. The papers is all wet. Okay, I like that color. It looks good. Now, while it's still wet, I can take a brush that's drier and I can pull some paint out. Get a real dry brush. Yeah, that's not dry, that's wet. Gotta get the right one here. Let's use this scrub one. Nope, I'm not doing it. Whoops. My brush fell apart. And kind of give this some direction. Just a beginning. See how I can just almost make that white? Can you see that, Ryan? Mm-hmm. Because that paint is sitting on top of that paper, hasn't soaked in yet. This is a dry brush, so I can pull it right out of there. You can almost just see that paint being pushed around. Okay, that's one technique of how to get these petals, you know, their shape to start to show up. All right? This is the first petal we did, real light wash of yellow, because I can put this darker yellow in later. And if it's cool to the touch, it's not dry yet. And this is still a little bit cool, so, you know, we're not ready to paint something right next to it. So we've got this petal that's next to it, this petal that's next to it, this petal that's next to this, it's not dry yet. and this petal that's next to both of them. So we have to wait. We have to be a little bit patient, or it will backwash into it and make those blossoms, and we don't want that. I'm going to do the third petal. This one we're going to get some real blending in. Get it all wet, nice and saturated, because we're going to do some movement here. I'll try to get this red in here, moving up into the orange. Alrighty. Following my pencil line, because remember, that paint only goes where this water is. I'm going to put a little bit more water on it because I want this paint to move. Okay, let's see what happens here. We never know. We're going to dip into our yellow. Kind of get a little puddle going here, because we want it light at the top. Like I said, we're going to make that one darker later. But right now we're just going to get some paint on here. I'm going to throw a little orange in here. I'll put some red and burnt umber to get this color here in the bottom. Then we want this all to blend. So let's move this, let's move some yellow and orange down in here. And while it's wet, we can do all kinds of things. We can lift some color out, give that some movement. And I'm going to add a little more down here since it's still wet. And I like to, get some of that redness out with that burnt sienna. Okay. See how that washes down there? Don't touch it with your brush. All right. Okay, this is what I was looking for right here, this blending of these colors. I'm darken this later, and I'm going to take my brush that only has clear water on it and soften these edges right in here. This is kind of a hard edge, so just take your water And soften that a little bit.
Your phone's ring.
Mary's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to let these dry, and then the next video we'll move on and show you the rest of the painting. Okay, we're going to put our brush up for today, and the next video we'll continue with this hibiscus. Today I've shown you how to put a light wash on here. We'll put darker colors on later. We've done this blending right here that turned out pretty good. Okay, with the dark coming into the lighter colors, and this will not be the finish. And then on the bottom petal I showed you how to lift some color, you know, with a dry brush when this was wet. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you later on Sharon My Art. Don't forget to, let's see, subscribe and like. Bye.